Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a four-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov. That was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. Finals are over, and we were talking about it beforehand, and the man I was talking about it before with was Austin, and is Austin.
Yeah, this series. I mean, Tim and I predicted it correctly.
Yes.
Denver in 5.
And props to Tim for Aaron Gordon. We were wrong. Michael Porter Jr. seemed to play better. In
Game 5, he was definitely more impactful than Aaron Gordon, who really struggled. But that Game 4 win was the most important win in the series, in my opinion. And Aaron Gordon was definitely a huge part to that win.
And Aaron Gordon was doing great defensively. And so props to Tim for that. And it seemed close, but it just seemed inevitable that the Nuggets would win.
Yeah, this was the two series, despite the fact that they both went 5, the Stanley Cup final and the NBA finals, just seemed the same way. It didn't seem like either team from the Miami relative area could get anything going, and just the juggernaut on the other side is just too dominant, and that really proved here because Jokic again averaged 30 points for the series, 30, 14, and 7, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and he got Finals MVP, which I'm so glad for. He deserves it, and we will be doing an overreactions video, so I have thoughts on like what this could mean, but it's quite a resume to have 2 MVPs and a Finals MVP. We don't have to compare resumes. We just have to acknowledge his resume.
Yeah, and Jokic is already a Hall of Famer. He could retire today, and he's a Hall of Famer. Multiple-time MVP,
Yes.
NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, and obviously the Western Conference Finals MVP, which I think means actually nothing. But 5-time All-Star. He's done more than a lot of other all-time greats have done.
Yes, and this team stayed together compared to the NHL team, which had a lot of turnover. This team really had the core. Jamal Murray, what a story for him coming back. They drafted Michael Porter Jr. They kept a lot of their core guys, and there was that chemistry.
Yeah, and the biggest move they made really to make this happen was KCP trading.
Because
you go.
And what a play by KCP, because I was getting worried. I'm like, man, they get 4-6, and then KCP comes up with the big steal.
Yeah, and I do think that officiating could be talked about again. That was not a foul in the corner on that shot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
how can you defend?
I was debating with someone. He's like, "Well, I can see why they called it." I'm like,
"No, I can't see. I can't. I don't see it."
They were like saying landing area, but he flared.
He wasn't in the landing area. The landing area is below you, not all the way out 4 feet. That's not how that works.
That's fair. But Denver rebounded. They kept going, and they were able to win. And the thing that stuck out to me was Jimmy Butler, before he went and got the 13 points, he had 8 points.
Yeah, and he still did not shoot great from the field. And whether he says injuries hampered him or not, we're going to look at his legacy differently if this is the last finals run he goes on as a leading piece.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm curious what you think. To me, I think he just spent a lot of energy earlier on in the rounds and spending a lot of time playing, where with Jokic, he did play a ton, but he still had Jamal Murray, other guys like Aaron Gordon. There's no Bam Adebayo was inconsistent in the Eastern Conference Finals. Offensively, it's just there's no, I think, consistent second guy or great second guy on the Heat team.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't necessarily know what everything again, the hero injury definitely did not help because they needed
Yes.
another ball handler shooter. And Kyle Lowry played well in the series and probably did better than many people expected. One thing I do want to give props to Jokic, like we've done many times already. Everyone on the team could not shoot well except for Jokic, who shot 75%. It just seemed like no one could hit a shot, and then Jokic would hit a shot. And when the score is 94-89, solo scoring, those 28 points matter even more. And I do like how in the regular season, breaking offensive records, and in multiple games in the finals, teams don't even reach 100 points. And that kind of shows defense. It shows the pressure of the moment. And the fact that Jokic, again, shot 75% and played so crazy well kind of shines light on how great he is.
And to go to your offense and defensive matters, in the playoffs, I believe the um, Denver Nuggets. So they were number one in offensive rating. Oh no, this is playoffs. I want regular season because I believe the Miami Heat was 11th, but they I believe had one of the better defenses.
Mm-hmm.
And then Denver was top 5. So
Yeah, Miami only averaged 96.4 points per game.
yeah,
Miami
But
scored
they-
under 100 points in every game they lost. The only game they won, they scored over 100 points. Denver scored over 100 points in every game besides one, and that one game they didn't score over 100 was Game 5.
okay, and you're talking about the finals.
Yeah.
So maybe they do need a little bit better scoring, but I was kind of saying their defense got them to this point, and then Jimmy Butler doing well. But we talked about super teams. The Miami doesn't need to create another super team. They just need to get a second guy because then I think everything fits in, which I think they tried to do with Lowry, and it just hasn't worked.
Yeah, the thing is, again, Lowry played much better than many people give him credit for. He shot 42% from three. He was not really a. Well, the thing is they need a third guy because Bam averaged more points than Butler for the series. He averaged 21.8
Okay.
to Butler's 21.6. Bam averaged 12.4 rebounds. He played extremely well. The fact
So you
is,
think,
you
or
go,
what were we gonna say?
you go.
So you think Bam is the second guy?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I do think they may need another guy like the Bucks, but not like a. Again, like we were talking about don't trade for a second guy, but you can trade for a third guy. They could trade for another solid starter. I think they would be fine. I don't think they would benefit a lot from a Bradley Beal trade. And again, this trade rumor is if the Wizards decide to blow it up. It says in the fine detail if they decide to blow it up. So he may not get traded at all. It says if. But if he does get traded, right, the Heat are not going to benefit from a Bradley Beal trade because Bradley Beal needs the ball. And Jimmy needs the ball. We've seen Bradley Beal play as a secondary option to John Wall, and he can be a set shooter, but he is not at his best when he is sitting corner and shooting because he's not a great defensive player. And while they could do it like a CJ Dame, but where Jimmy's good at defense and they just get more buckets from Brad, Brad is most effective with the ball in his hands. He can catch and shoot, but he's most effective with the ball in his hands.
I think that's well. I see what people are saying with Bradley Beal, but yeah, you make a good point. And I think Brad Beal may cost a little bit too much, and I think they can do something where they just need to me another scorer who can score off ball, but also can fill in for when Jimmy's out. And maybe they'd probably have to give Tyler Hero up in that deal, but do you get what I'm saying? Because we talked about their points when they lost. They have great defense. So I think if they added one guy who can play next to Jimmy and score and is a better scorer, and even if he's not the best defender, I think that would really help the Heat.
Yeah, they need someone to take off the offensive weight when Bam's not having a great night. Because Bam and Jimmy, their best attribute is defense. And if you can get a guy that's best attribute is offense and can score the ball very proficiently, this could really work out.
Yeah, so that's the thing that sticks out to me. So I would say the second guy, but I get you believe Bam. Bam's just a little bit inconsistent offensively to be that guy for me, that second overall guy. But yeah, they're missing a piece, and then maybe with that piece, then we can see if Jimmy Butler can save his energy, because that's, I think, the biggest thing, because it's a long playoff run.
Yeah.
So, but props to the Nuggets, and Aaron Gordon was great. Michael Porter Jr. didn't really play well, but just their role players seem to be better. And I know I said this in the previous NBA final when we talked about the previous NBA finals, or the NBA finals in our previous episode. It just seemed which would make more sense for the Heat to go trade for someone, because they can find guys. They can find the role players.
Yeah, they have so many undrafted and low drafted players that I trust Pat Riley and everyone else in the executive office to make good moves. So this team will be competitive again next year.
Yeah, and I would say go make a trade, go get a third, or go get that score. That's what I think they're missing. And Spoelstra is a great coach.
I think a really good player they could go after is a guy like Norman Powell, a guy to give you 18 to 20.
That's a great.
Guy to give you 18, 20. He's not great on defense, but if you give him the ball, he can go get you a bucket. And they need a bucket getter.
And I'm thinking someone on the level of Aaron Gordon, or when he was with the Magic. Someone around that range.
Of skill, yeah. I mean, they don't need a Gordon, because Gordon's, again, his best.
Yeah, they don't need a
defense.
Gordon. But a team like the Magic, when they were rebuilding, and the Nuggets were like, Gordon would really fit our system. Let's go trade for him. And look at what he did in the finals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what I think they can do, and they may have to give up role players, but they're just great at developing role players, and I think Spoelstra has been great. He's a great coach, so then that could really help them. It's just they can't take this team and run it back, or they can try to run it back, but I don't think they'll win the finals.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Without change, no team can replicate. Yeah. Teams grow and learn from mistakes and everything else.
But it's weird because this team didn't really change, and they went even farther than they did last year.
That's true. I mean, they did make the proficiency increase from guys like Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Barton, but they also Hero got hurt, so it goes both ways.
Yeah, but overall, props to the Nuggets and such a great team, and I'm so glad a European star won. And I feel people can stop hating on Jokic.
Yeah, he does not deserve all the negative talk he gets. He's a humble winner, and I mean this title reminds me a lot of the Bucks in 2021.
Yes, that's because a great way to put it.
It really does seem like Giannis, a 2-time MVP before he won, in a year he didn't win MVP, where he could have won for the third straight year, goes on a long run and ends up winning in commanding fashion. I mean, Jokic dominated these finals just like Giannis did. Both are European legends, and they're both still young for the future. I mean, I bet they're around the same age from what I understand.
Yeah, I bet. And I feel they did it while they were young, so there's not like a Dirk situation where he's getting older and older.
Yeah, and Giannis and Jokic are both 28, and the difference in days, Jokic is 75 days younger. Jokic is 75 days younger than Giannis, so they're about the same point in their career. And right now, they have very similar career stats when it comes to 2 MVPs, Finals win, and Finals MVP. Those upper echelon awards, they are right on track.
Yeah, and hopefully they meet in the finals, because I think that
I want that so bad. I need
Giannis would defend Jokic, right? Or no?
No one can guard Jokic. No one can guard Giannis. No one can guard Jokic. If Giannis didn't get hurt in the Heat series, I still think the Bucks win that round. But obviously, it didn't work out, and we'll have to wait till next year. But I still think the Bucks are my favorite heading into next year, just like they were this year. and then we'll see when we get playoff time. Like when we got to playoff time, the Nuggets were playing so well. That's why I eventually had the Nuggets winning, and I'm glad I did. I believe that you won the NHL prediction, and I won the
and you won this one.
yeah.
So yeah, flip flop, and I think it was the opposite last year. Yeah, it was the opposite last year because you dominated the NHL, and I got the Warriors win. Yeah, and I just felt like it was the Nuggets here. Everything. Jamal Murray was healthy. Michael Porter Jr. was healthy, and Jamal Murray. Have you seen those stats where they talked about Magic and Kareem, and then compared it to Jamal and Jokic?
Yeah, I have seen some of those. I don't like those comparisons because they're just so different players, but I get it.
It was talking about the points, and I was like, wow, well, Jamal Murray did play really well, but Jokic was the main person, and I was like, Finals MVP to Jokic. It's easy.
It's rare that you have a guy averaging so many points in the playoffs, 30, and then 14 and 10 is really what he averaged, or 30, 13.5 and 9.5. Somebody averaged 30 points and 9.5 assists on such great splits. We've never seen something like this.
And that's like a point guard, or it's something you would assume a point guard would do.
Well, then you look at the 13 and a half rebounds, and you're like, oh, maybe not a point guard.
Yeah.
It just all works out.
Yeah, I think when you say it, they're like, yeah, there's this guy that 30 points, 9 assists, 9.5 assists, and then also a bunch of rebounds. They're like, oh, small forward. No, it's a center, which is just incredible.
And look, it's okay if it doesn't happen, but this is what I'm getting from this, and this I think is a really good comparison, at least in my mind, is we never got a Kobe LeBron final. LeBron went to the finals in 07 and then 11, 12, all the way till 18.
Yeah.
Kobe made it the 3 years LeBron did it in the middle. So in 07, it was LeBron, Kobe, LeBron made it every year. So somehow we went from, and they're in different conferences, so it's not like they got each other out. We never got a year of Kobe versus LeBron, which a lot of people really wanted. Obviously, the Mavs probably stopped that from happening because that Lakers team got swept by them. So a lot of teams wanted to see a Kobe LeBron final when both of them were in their prime, and I need to see a Jokic Giannis final. I wouldn't even care who wins. I'm just sitting there watching some great basketball.
That would be such great basketball on the teams. If they keep the main guys, it'd be really good.
Yeah, and that's really the problem with dynasties nowadays. I know the Warriors obviously technically still have one going, but it's just really hard to be that good. I do think the Warriors benefited from maybe a lack of great teams around them. There's not many like dominant forces around them, except for maybe during 16-17, the Spurs, who I still think would have beat the Warriors if Zaza Pachulia didn't hurt Kawhi. So it just so happens that now we went from in the mid 2010s with like the Cavs, Warriors going back to back. We have so much more parity at the very top of the NBA. Those top 5-6 teams, I think, could all make a great finals push. And I think next year may be another great year.
Yeah,
I just hope the finals are more competitive.
Yeah, I hope the playoffs are more competitive. But I'm very excited. We'll be covering it and be updated for that. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.